Hey, enough already. Come on, it's fine. You're my wife, after all. I complain to my husband, but it has zero effect on him. On top of that, just because I'm his wife, he treats me like a servant. Hey, is dinner not ready yet? Hurry up and make it. Hey, isn't the seasoning too bland? You have to make it to suit your husband's taste, don't you? I wonder if the reason my husband acts so confidently is because his parents are here. No matter how many times I tell my husband, he doesn't listen. I sighed, thinking it's a waste of energy to shout. I am a working part-time housewife since getting married. My husband is a company employee, 1 year older than me. We got married just a year ago, still in the honeymoon phase. We should be in the midst of happiness, but suddenly, my in-laws have moved in and I'm troubled by it. I never agreed to live together, don't decide on your own. Normally, a wife enters her husband's household, and it should be a joy to receive guidance from your mother-in-law about an unfamiliar household, right? Huh? Isn't she just ordering me around without doing anything herself? Mom is just teaching you what it means to be a wife. If you think you're being ordered around, maybe it's because of your bad personality? I tried discussing it with my husband, but he phrased it as if it were my fault. The reason is that before we got married, I had thought about the future and switched from full-time to part-time work. When I talked to my husband about wanting children, he agreed, and I continued to work without pushing myself. Or so I thought. Within less than a year of our married life, my in-laws started visiting frequently. At first, I welcomed them, thinking they were my husband's parents, but the situation started to become suspicious. Hey, this soy sauce doesn't suit my taste. So, can't you use this instead? Prepare beer instead of low malt beer for me. Once they started staying over frequently, they began making demands for dishes and drinks that suited their preferences. I tried to accommodate my in-laws and husband, fulfilling all their requests. However, it escalated when they stopped going back to their own home and started to settle in ours. I feel like having sushi today, so let's order takeout. Oh, that's great. In that case, let's get the premium one. I've been getting tired of simple meals day after day. Yeah, the food your wife makes doesn't suit my taste, so the ones we order are more delicious. What an attitude, even though they've settled in our house. That's what I thought, but I let my in-laws do as they pleased. I felt like if I got too involved, I would end up shouting. Even if I were to discuss it with my husband, he wouldn't side with me against his parents at all. Before I knew it, we started ordering takeout almost every day at home. What? What is this? When I checked my bank balance on my smartphone, it had decreased even though I had no recollection of spending it. The sudden drop in the amount made me dizzy for a moment. I immediately asked my husband about it, and he nonchalantly told me as if it were no big deal. Oh, I've been giving an allowance to my dad and mom. What? How dare you spend it without my consent? It's fine, Dad and Mom were happy with the allowance. That money was what I saved up when I was working full-time. I was saving it for when we have children. Unbelievably, my husband had been withdrawing money from my account without permission and giving it to my in-laws as an allowance. Elderly people are often referred to as big children, but I don't want such big children. After discovering that my savings had been used without my permission, I cautiously checked the card transactions, and there were purchases written here that I didn't remember making. I was too shocked to find words to say to my husband. As I remained silent, my in-laws returned home from their outing. Oh, it's the first time I played pachinko without worrying about money. It feels great not to care even if I lose because it's not my own money. Yeah, that's right. Since it wasn't our own money, we could buy clothes without any worries. It's amazing. Oh, Mom, Dad, how about going out to eat together? I know a great restaurant. Oh, that sounds nice. Let's go together then. They were talking right in front of me, as if I didn't exist. The money you two spent recklessly was the money I had saved before getting married. Moreover, I had been desperately saving for the future. I wanted to interject, but I couldn't find the words, due to the overwhelming situation. Oh, you don't have to come. Just do your job as a wife properly. What? To my astonishment, they planned to go out without me. I couldn't hide my anger and confronted my husband. Why did you use my money without permission and spend it recklessly when I wasn't around? Well, if we were there, it would be a hindrance to cleaning, right? We kindly let you be absent, so show some gratitude. That's right. While we're not here, make sure to do the tasks you haven't finished. And also, make sure to have the bath ready by the time we come back. Don't forget to prepare real beer too. With those words, the three of them left the house. I was left speechless, unable to move for a while. Fearfully, I checked my card usage history, only to find a hefty bill for an upscale Chinese restaurant that I would never visit under normal circumstances. Seeing that amount, I couldn't bring myself to have any appetite for a meal. As instructed by my father-in-law, I prepared the bath and waited for their return, but there was no sign of them coming back at all. Once again, I glanced at my smartphone, and the amount had increased as if they had gone straight to a bar or something. I was furious and waited for the three of them to return in the living room, but despite being 3 people there, I could hear lively voices coming from the entrance. Oh, I drank too much. Hick, you were quite lively. I also ate too much. I'm glad you two enjoyed yourselves. They were in high spirits, which only fueled my anger at the difference in attitude towards me. Instead of stopping by the living room, all 3 of them walked towards their own rooms. As you instructed, I prepared the bath and got the beer ready. Oh, it's fine, it's fine. I got tired, so I'll just go to sleep as is. I'll need it in the morning, so it's all right for me. Prepare it for tomorrow morning. Well then, I'll take a bath. It's late, but make sure to clean properly. I felt drained of energy from their selfish actions. I feel as if they only see me as a servant. Though it was quite late, I cleaned the bathroom after my mother-in-law used it, and prepared it again early in the morning. I guess they take it for granted that they can do as they want without a word of gratitude, and they just go about their lives as if it's natural. I had already given up on finding happiness in this household. Oh, I booked a 7-day trip to Hawaii. What are you saying? I can't take that much time off. That's what I thought, so I didn't book it for you. We're going as 3. I couldn't find my voice in response to their audacity. My husband must be taking time off using his paid leave, but as I had just started a part-time job, I didn't have any paid leave yet. I thought about complaining, but my name was naturally not on the Hawaii trip that I booked with my own money. You have your work to do, so do your best while we're not here. Oh, don't slack off on cleaning just because we're not here. We'll check rigorously when we get back. I didn't want to hear the voices of the three of them happily discussing their travel plans in the living room, so I locked myself in my room. I had reached my limit of staying here. I had to make it clear to the three of them, who only saw me as a servant. And for the next few days, I obediently served the three of them, who seemed to be enjoying themselves. This dish doesn't suit my taste. Let's order takeout. Yes. We're out of alcohol. Go buy some from the convenience store. Yes. Hey, you, clean up your room properly. What if your in-laws get injured? You made the mess, so why don't you clean it up yourself? You're so cheeky for a wife. You should just do as we command. The three of them, thinking I'm obediently following their orders, do as they please. While obediently following their orders, I secretly smile with an evil grin inside. I pretend to do my work mechanically, stroking something hidden in the pocket of my apron. After confirming that the three of them have departed for Hawaii, I track their actions on social media. There are photos of my in-laws smiling and making peace signs, with the emerald green sea as the backdrop, and I click my tongue. Who do they think is funding their enjoyment? By checking my card's usage status, I realize that my savings have further decreased. They must be having a great time, since it's not their own money they're spending. When I looked at a picture of my husband, taking selfies as lying on the large bed, I had the urge to smash my phone, but I held back. I'll definitely make them regret this. With my phone in hand, I made a call to a certain place. While on the call, I couldn't contain my laughter and burst into hysterical laughter. The revenge against the three who had belittled me begins. I was back at my parents' house after a long time, relaxing and enjoying the tranquility. There's nothing better than being in the familiar surroundings of home, and my mother cooked delicious meals for me. My phone notified me of an incoming call just as if it breaks savoring those peaceful moments I was savoring. Seeing it was from my husband, I pressed the answer button. Hey, we can't enter the house. What's going on? Of course not. I'm not there either, remember? What? Come back immediately. Unfortunately, that place is no longer my home. It was the three of them who had returned from their trip, calling me instead of being able to enter the house. Naturally, they couldn't enter anymore. It wasn't our place anymore. While the three of them were away on the trip, I had put the house and the land up for sale. Surely, there must be a sold sign right in front of my husband's eyes. I sold that house. What? What are you doing? How dare you do such a thing on your own? It's not doing things on my own. That was my house, so it's only natural, isn't it? My words left my husband speechless. However, it was different for my in-laws who were nearby. Whether they snatched the phone from him or not, I could hear my mother-in-law's furious voice. Wait a minute! Selling your son's house like that, you're such a selfish daughter-in-law. I'll sue you. I don't know what your husband told you, but that place is genuinely my house. It was handed down to me from my late grandmother. What? Wait a minute. Is that true? Well, I had vaguely sensed it throughout my life. The reason my in-laws had taken residence in our house as if it were their own was because my husband had hidden the fact that it was my house and boasted about it as his own. That's why my in-laws had treated me harshly. They seemed to understand their position, and my mother-in-law's voice faded away. Next, my father-in-law seemed to take the phone. I could hear my father-in-law's angry voice. "What are we supposed to do if we have nowhere to go? Why don't you go back to your own house?" "Well," I smirked as I saw my father-in-law's reaction. My in-laws had sold their own house. Now it belonged to someone else. When I went to give my wedding greetings, they mentioned that it was quite an old house, and that they were considering moving. After the three of them went on their trip, I made arrangements to sell the house and land, and I went to check on my in-laws' house. However, instead of the old house that used to be there stood a modern and elegant building. There was a beautiful garden as well, and I saw little children running around in it. I was confident that this plan would corner the three of them significantly. "What should we do?" "I don't know. It's not my concern anymore." "Huh?" "While you were on your trip, I consulted a lawyer and decided to divorce." What? How can you do that on your own? "I have recorded everything you have done to me." With this evidence, along with the fraudulent card usage and the videos on social media, it's enough for a divorce. Since I heard about the Hawaii trip, I had already made arrangements for the divorce. Because the three of them had always treated me poorly, it didn't take me long to gather evidence. "I will demand $30,000 in compensation, and you will also have to repay the amount you used from my savings before our marriage." Right after I finished speaking, there was a sound of something breaking, and the call was abruptly disconnected. No matter how many times I called out, there was no response at all, and I tilted my head in confusion. After ending the call, I immediately received another incoming call. It was a friend who lived next door to the house where I used to live, and she seemed to be in a hurry about something. "Hey, something incredible is happening right in front of me." After conveying that, my friend quickly hung up and sent me a video. In the video, there was a crack on the windshield of a parked car nearby, and it captured my father-in-law kicking and smashing it. There was a loud noise coming from the car, and people were gathering one after another. Apparently, the sound of something breaking that I heard earlier was the sound of my furious father-in-law throwing his phone at the car after hearing my words. My mother-in-law was trying to stop him, but it had no effect at all. The police arrived, likely due to someone's report, and the scene of my father-in-law being taken away was captured in the video. I expressed my gratitude to my friend and returned to a peaceful life once again. They had fallen into their own hell. Afterwards, my father-in-law was arrested for property damage. As for my husband and mother-in-law, they naturally had nowhere to live, so they apparently lived in parks and such for a few days. My husband, taking after my father-in-law who had a gambling addiction, had gotten involved in gambling, unknown to me. He had very little savings. As a result, he is living with my mother-in-law in a rundown apartment. My mother-in-law, who used to love extravagant living, now lives a modest life and works at a 24-hour izakaya. My ex-husband's gambling habit was exposed at his company, and the reason for our divorce became known, which results in his dismissal. He seems to be currently looking for a job, but he is essentially relying on my mother-in-law's earnings. Although the alimony is divided into installments and paid monthly, they somehow manage to make a living. As for me, I am living comfortably at my parents' house. I have an arranged meeting scheduled with someone my father knows, and I have been busy with the preparations. The arranged meeting photo that my father brought shows a seemingly sincere man, and I have some expectations. This time, I want to be with someone who will treat me well, not like my ex-husband, and I want to be happy.